it's like every day that goes by that I don't think about this, it starts to become like, yeah, that old thing. But then the music has been something that has kept me being like, okay, what's going on here? So let's start off with, I'm just gonna play these like literally a word here and there, because of the whole copyrights thing, and I'm dealing with music, and YouTube is crazy with music copyrights. Even though this is fair use, and I can do this, but let's go here. So the first one is "Stand by Me." This one's pretty big to me. What is this line in your head? Does it go? If the sky that we look upon, dum dum dum, should tumble and fall, or the blank should crumble to the sea. Now, did you hear in your head mountains or mountain? It is now mountain. Let's just fly through this, shall we? I know Benny King didn't write this, but it says mountains here in the lyrics. And I type this in to the Google image search. We've got mountains here, mountain here, mountains, mountain, mountain, mountains, mountain, mountains. You get the point. It's pretty mountains. Mountains. Oh, is that John Lennon? Well, interestingly enough, I'll get to him in a second. But even the original Otis Redding. All of the mountain. All of the mountain. Okay. Alright, that makes sense. John Lennon. Oh man, he said mountain too. That was kind of low. Okay. Now here finally I've got two, like there's a lot more of them that also say mountains. I mean mountain. Let's see here. Besides John Lennon, Otis Redding, and Benny King, Florence and the Machine says mountain. Maurice White says mountain. Mickey Gilley says mountain. But Tracy Chapman, she says, "O'er the mountains." Oh, thank goodness. Residue. And Seal? And the mountains. Sick. How about you, Enrique? And the mountains. Thank goodness. Well, okay. Let's move on, shan't we? Okay. Next I've got a little David Seville action. You know that song, Witch Doctor? Alright, so here's what's up. Ooh ee ooh ooh ah ting tang walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ooh ah ting tang walla walla blank bang. I remember it as Bing Bang, okay? But check it out. That one's right. Oh man, it sounds like he said bang bang. Well, let's check it out. Oh, here's a little note about Mr. Dave Seville. Now, there's an element with Satanism which goes inverse things, invert them. Meh. So what's interesting is that when you reverse the D and the S in Dave Seville, you change it to Save Devil. Strange. All right. His real name is Ross Bagdasarian, but this is his stage name, so it's kind of like, he chose it. I don't have it here, but even okay, yeah, so I click on Witch Doctor. Yeah, look at this. Alternating Bing Bang with Bang Bang. So check this out. This is the bang that shows it's like actually says bang bang, because the next one's bang again. Bang bang. Ting tang walla walla bang bang. Bang bang. It's hard to get that one up again, but yeah, bang bang. Two bangs there. It's just hard to pause it on both. But anyway. What do you remember? I remember Bing Bang all the time. And what's interesting about the Witch Doctor thing is straight up it's going to be kind of gnarly harsh, but basically I've heard that in Africa, one of the things that witch doctors say can help AIDS is to have sex with babies. Anyway, sorry about that, but okay. The Doors, one of my favorite bands of all time. Love Me Two Times. I've had this one for a little bit, but anyway, I don't need to go to the lyrics here, but listen to what it is now. I mean, I've heard a few of my friends be like, "No, it's always like that," but for me, it was not, and I've heard this song a lot of times. He continues to say that over and over again until like one time he says "times," even though the title is "Love Me Two Times." Oh my God, I'm risking copyrights. Two-time girl. Interesting because that changes the nature of the song. Love me two-timing girl. Like, yeah, love me the girl that's like a two-timer, huh? You know, instead of like, love me twice, you know, kind of thing. And what's cool is I think these are like, they say these are the original lyrics, original handwritten lyrics, and it says times, love me two times. And then there's only one time. It says, love me one time. So that one's a big change for me. Very big. All right, these are going to be two more Beatles ones now. This is Penny Lane. You know what? I have to like play this tone here just to make sure copyrights don't go. Oof. That's harsh, I'm sorry, but hopefully it'll help me with copyright. Okay, you get the point. It was Penny Lane is in my ear, even though lyrics say ears. Plenty of them also say it. And Penny Lane is in my ears all over the place. And something pretty cool, guys. Okay. So I don't know, you guys may not have seen my last one about Hey Jude, but there was I looked because Hey Jude, I remember the shoulders, it changed the shoulder and the S. So I looked at the original lyrics, and it if you look at this, I don't think it's gonna zoom in, but ears right here, same kind of S as in shoulders, where the top of this go away, the top of this S here doesn't have the rest of it, the regular C, you know, the top half of the S, same thing as shoulders. You can check out the other video for that. I don't have it loaded right now, but look, you know, it's not the same as the rest of the S's in my ears. It's the exact same thing. It's crazy as the change in the S being gone before, in the shoulders thing. And everyone's like, some people are like, well, you know, it wouldn't rhyme with colder, which is the next line for Hey Jude. But I'm telling you, man, this was shoulders. The line goes, carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. This is not shoulder. Same with this, ears. Same S. Strange, okay? Pretty strange. Okay, one more Beatles song. Now, somebody has been talking about this, but it's a different change that I have. With a little help from my friends, I'm going to play it again with this tone, because the Beatles are really gnarly with their copyrights, but... It says friend all the time. Okay. Friend. A bunch. It says friend like most of the times in most of the versions. And so even to the point with Joe, that was on Spotify because there's none on YouTube. But Joe Cocker. Sounds like friend. Talking, copyright. Oh my gosh, you hear the background people saying friend, right? Well, let me just make it sure that was loud enough. Copyright. Friend. Okay, now let's watch the Wonder Years intro. Somebody was talking about what would you think or what would you do, I think, which I don't, it was always what would you think, I think. I don't know, I'm not talking about that one. This is the fact that all the friends have now become friend. Sounds like friend, just like the Beatles songs. Crazy. And also listen to the beginning of this. It sounds like what would you do? Watch what you do. Interesting. So those are the 5 songs that I have right now, which were Stand By Me, Witch Doctor, Love Me Two Times, or Time Now by the Doors, Penny Lane by the Beatles, and With a Little Help from My Friends, which is now Friend. We really are living in the wonder years, are we not? So again, this isn't going to just be a change video. Let me just see if I can freestyle something, because I don't have anything else. I just wanted to make a quick little screen record video thing here because these songs are catching up with me. I've got too many to deal with. The playlist is reaching triple digits, I kid you not. But I I'm not okay. So here's what I'm noticing. Right, this Fermi Lab just came out with a video, and you can look it up, and it's such BS the way it's talking about the Mandela effect. Here's what I'm seeing. Let's see what it is like I judge what the mainstream says and then sort of adjust accordingly. Okay, so if the mainstream is saying the people who believe in the Mandela effect say it's because dot dot dot, I'm like, okay, well if they're saying it's because, then it's definitely not because. But they think it's because of parallel dimensions. Who decided that's the actual definition of this? I didn't. I mean, who cares what I think? Except me, I guess, and maybe you if you're listening. But like, that's not automatic. That's like, to me, the most obvious controlled opposition I can think of. And this whole Fiona Broom thing, man, I like, there's a little bit of talk about this on Reddit today. Like, it's just totally, somebody named Shadow tells her, like, here's a Mandela thing, like, I don't know if like I share this Mandela memory, although I have another video coming out about the nature of Mandela that I don't want to really preface right now, but like it's just real interesting, a few elements about the specific circumstances that involves him as a person, the way that just the whole thing. Okay, I'm alluding, but here's my thing. Okay, like I literally just think that the material world, which I've always said nothing is real anyway, is actually, this is just evidence of that. And when I first heard about the Mandela effect, I don't even want to call it that, man. Like the retroactive alteration, whatever. It's just words. And I'm not hating on people saying in my reality, because let's say reality is just your standard circumstantial recalling of just how things are, and then all of a sudden that gets changed, and yeah, it's like the reality is a little different now. The material of the reality is a little different, but I don't at all think we changed dimensions, and I think that that's been promoted by, like, there was that article that came out a while ago, like a couple months, that was like, oh, everyone was like, oh, finally the mainstream's talked about it, right? Like, where they're like, don't worry, you're not in an alternate dimension where Trump's president, right? Like, they're just two things. They're just ragging on the Mandela effect and just like Trump, right? Just like, that's very cliche, guys. Can't you think of something else to get your ratings? That's very, like, everyone's ragging on this dude, whatever. And so the point is, mainstream says it's parallel dimensions. I think it's definitely not. And when I first heard about this thing, the idea of this being parallel dimensions and the fact that I was absent from my loved ones in another dimension or something along those lines, or that they had an imposter, that is what freaked me out. That is what freaked me out more than anything. And then once I started to really think, like, you know what? Actually, I think that this material plane is just being edited. That's when, and it's not just a handicap, and then along the lines of it, somehow other people are being updated, or they just don't seem to care enough to really, think about it. It's like we've all seen that like autopilot response where somebody either decides that they are easily proven wrong with a Google search. They're like, oh, I guess I was wrong. It's not Rod Sterling. It's Sterling. What? Even though you just said it, I was like, what? Who made the Twilight Zone? They say Sterling, and they're like, oh, whoops. Like, or there's that thing that some of us experience where there's like, this happened to me with Field of Dreams. I had like this auto update thing to go on where I was like, oh, well, you know what, actually I kind of do remember it starting off with if you build it, he will come, and then it was they will come. But that's not, it's weird because it's specifically tailored to the circumstances that I experienced when watching that movie at like 9 years old. Okay, but like somehow it's artificial. I don't know how this stuff's working, but this world of technology is crazier than we can imagine. If the Third Reich was working with anti-gravity in the 40s, supposedly, and we adopted their scientists, 80 years later, do you think it's possible for them to implant thoughts in people? Now, here's my thing. I'll probably say this in every single video, but if it's me, for skeptics, if it's me and those who are experiencing the Mandela effect that are the ones who are being screwed with and having false memories implanted. If that were true, then how come for a lot of the songs that I've found, the majority of lyric sites agree with me about how it was and not the way that it is now? So I find a thing that I think is a change in a song, and then I go to lyric sites. Most of the lyric sites agree with my memory, not with the way the song is now. Now that element plus residue, if we hop dimensions, there would not be residue unless there was a merging of dimensions, which is altogether possible. Like we were fractal before, and now that's possible. But the thing is this: if the D-Wave people say parallel dimensions, if CERN says parallel dimensions, if this Fermilab says parallel dimensions, to me, it is not parallel dimensions. I'm sorry if I sound soapboxy, but I'm pretty freaking jazzed up about it, not, if you can't tell, being parallel dimensions. I only want there to be love and peace for every single person, and I am going to cut this short now before I just go off too much. Okay.